Some pieces sound way easier than they actually are, and that's the case with this famous Chopin Nocturne. The pure technical level of the piece isn't so high.
If you study classical piano for 2 years, sometimes even 1, you'll have enough technical ability to play this nocturne.
However, to play this nocturne very well, it will take years of training.
The most difficult thing to do with this nocturne is to play it in a way that sounds effortless, and that is a very subtle art.
Think of what makes a lullaby sound relaxing. If you're just barely surviving the notes, it probably won't sound so comforting. So, it's not just about playing the right notes. You need a deep understanding and technical grasp of the music. That is why practice and analysis are so important. In this video, I'm going to show you how to approach both of these factors so that you can start developing a truly beautiful and effortless sound. I'll be sharing my best insights about this nocturne and also explore some hidden sides about the piece that involve improvisation. Let's first analyze the music because this will be our tool for freedom. In order to embody and own the music, we must understand it inside out. So what's going on here? We have this beautiful melody that has a part A, which is then repeated, and a part B. What I noticed the most about part A are all of the upbeats. So it's constantly striving upwards with these eighth notes that lead in to the next beat. In terms of harmony, there's nothing groundbreaking per se, but I really love the voice leading here. It's very satisfying. There's enough tension building up in the middle notes. So I would really pay attention to those details, but also lean back and embrace the simple nature of how this is all establishing E flat major. And then we have the 5 of the 2 chord. I would look at this as a giant harmonic turnaround that leads us to the 5. Now section B is quite different. It's much more relaxed and maybe a bit detached. Until, of course, the tension arises again. And then we have these chords that causes just enough tension to make the return of section A very satisfying. On a very practical level, I would be mindful of these runs in the right hand and the leaps in the left hand in general, because these can all create some technical challenges. So the secret to mastering these runs is to really simplify them. So don't fear them, even though sometimes there are a lot of notes. Look at the simplicity underneath. So this is just going from B flat to E flat. Now look at this run as a giant decoration to what's underneath. So what's happening? We're sliding down a chromatic scale. And we're wrapping around. First outlining this chord. And curling into E flat. Now, something very important is to release the tension in your physical body as you're playing each note. And think of this as one huge gesture. I talk about this in my latest video on injury prevention, so if you haven't seen that, definitely check it out. But this will not only keep you injury safe, but also will make it sound more effortless. And for the left hand in general, the trick is to not pay attention to the distance between this bottom E flat to these chords here, but sort of pretend that these chords in the middle section or the middle area of the keyboard is just going along. You're not changing much, and simultaneously you are playing the bass notes. This will help you retain this sense of stillness, even though physically you're moving up and down. Also, the coda can catch you off guard. It's slightly more virtuosic than the other sections. The secret to playing this, I think, is to think in terms of 3 large groups, and they are different. So the first group is just establishing the momentum, then you're ramping up, and then ever so slightly ramping back down, and then you're closing out. This will help with memory and also just not getting stuck. Now, even after a bunch of practicing, you can still run into some hiccups if you don't find the right tempo. Just because you can play fast doesn't mean that it will be the right tempo. Remember that tempo isn't a fixed thing, it's alive. You have to breathe with the dynamics, the phrasing, the piano, and the room. Okay, maybe not that slow. The right tempo will be very personal to you, but if it's in between feeling a little fast or a little too slow, as Goldilocks put it, just right, that will be the tempo for you. So now, even if you have the perfect tempo and no technical hiccups, it won't sound effortless if it sounds too mechanical. This is why it's very important to think in terms of longer lines, not short phrases. To help this, pay attention to the tension and release in the harmony. Also, I find it very helpful to sing, both aloud and in your head. Just pretend that you are holding on to this breath that carries you from the beginning of the phrase to the end. Now, what might happen at this point is that you become too careful, too aware, too self-conscious, and this will take away from the flow of the music. One thing that I think will help is to lean into the spirit of improvisation, which is baked into this piece. Many people don't realize, but when Chopin wrote this piece, he meant for all of these runs to actually be improvised. I'm just kidding. Let's actually have a listen to Raoul Kachalski's recording, because this might be our best clue in how Chopin actually improvised these runs. That's because he studied with Kara Mikuli, who was a direct pupil of Chopin. Now I'm gonna give this another try. Something like that is probably a little more appropriate, but I encourage you all to try it out yourself. Now, the word effortlessness can be a little tricky, especially because everyone will want to play and interpret this nocturne in different ways. But I think the key is to find that space where you can express more, you can play more, but you're holding back slightly, and this makes this feel easy and comfortable, but again, with care and with confidence, with emotion. So it's a tricky balance. Some of his nocturnes are way more technically challenging than this one, but he chose to develop it and expand it only to a certain degree, and in that restraint, I find a lot of beauty and a lot of elegance.
By the way, if you are in Singapore or nearby, I am giving a concert very soon on May 6th. I hope to see some of you in person there. Otherwise, I'll see you very soon in the next video.